Christian, Islamic thinking and religion, it is diametrically and naturally created against the feminine principle, and the first representative of that feminine principle being the black woman. And I don't understand why black woman should subscribe to this kind of hostile thinking, even the Rastafarians for that particular matter, because you see, it is in the Nyabingi which it is the first and the best way for us Rastafarians to identify with that kind of thinking, that they identify with the woman, the greatest woman, Nyabingi, something that we can all relate with in terms of strength and valor, and still respect the woman. But it is in the same thinking in the doctrines of the guidelines. They say the woman cannot stand in the altar. Then that is artificial, because Nyabingi, the true Nyabingi, African Nyabingi, it is centered around the woman. The name is the woman. Abajirwa, which is called the priest of Nyabingi, but Jirwa, it is predominantly women. They were males, yes, but predominantly woman, because this is simple. It is dependent on feminine spirituality. Why do we get this idea of feminine spirituality? Simple. 9 months of your stay in the womb, whose air were you breathing? Your mother's air, until the umbilical cord was cut. So which is the first basis breath of life? Your mother's breath. So which is the first basis breath of humanity? Feminine spirituality. Simple. Biology. You know, that is my biggest problem, that I don't understand people with PhD in biology and still believe that a child can be born without sexual intercourse. That is the basis of Christianity. So any educated black man who have PhD and is a Christian, they make us question the credibility of education in the world of the blacks. That it makes black people still think and subscribe to this kind of nonsensical thinking. Now, this is different realms of things. Now, let's cut it down to religion. What is the law of our people said the religion come from? The law of our people said the religion come from the hunters. Mainly in the stone and bone age, when they were making very inferior weapons. When men fail to catch an animal or hit a particular animal, he automatically attributed that failure of marksmanship to some external force which is conspiring against him, which is the devil. Now, forces of nature which are naturally dual, like the poles, like polarities, north and south, male and female, men started to antagonize, create dual antagonism in these naturally dual forces. It is natural to have the north and the south. It is natural to have the male and the female. But it is not natural for the male and the female to have antagonism. Because the male and the female is a natural opposite of the other. That is why in our concept of God is that it takes the male and the female to have a God, because God is a complete complement. There have to be this completion to have God now. Because this is one part that God as a creator, there's one thing that the woman cannot do alone is to have a child. And there's one thing that the man cannot do alone is to have a child without the woman. So they both interdependent and need one another to manifest this particular act of creativity, procreation. That is why in this thinking we say human beings were not artificially created by some deity or a god in the sky. We say human beings were sexually created. That is why in English that kind of act, it is called procreation, the act of creating. This particular procreation, it is premised from the concept that sexual interaction is for procreation,